You know that feeling, right, when your mind is just running a race that you can't seem to win? That's worry. It's this struggle so many of us deal with, and it can really feel like you're trapped behind a locked door with no key. But what if there was a way to find that key? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a guide that's all about doing just that.
So let's just ask it, straight up. Are you trapped by worry? Do you ever find yourself just stuck in these loops of what-ifs and thinking about all the worst-case scenarios? If any of that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone.
The thing is, a modern world can feel like a perfect storm for anxiety. We are just bombarded with information, there's this constant pressure to perform, and uncertainty, well, that seems to be the new normal. And it's all of this mental overload that creates the perfect soil for worry to plant itself and just grow.
Okay, so let's be really clear about what we're up against. Worry isn't just some passing thought. It has real, actual effects on pretty much every single part of our lives.
You know, when worry becomes this constant companion, it just clouds our thinking. It makes it so hard to focus. It can throw our emotions completely off balance, it can strain our physical health, and it can even start to damage our relationships, both at home and at work. It's basically like a silent thief, just stealing our peace and our potential.
But what if there was a structured way to actually face this? That's where we bring in this idea of a guide, a key, you could say, that's designed to help unlock a more peaceful, serene state of mind.
This is Unlocking Serenity by Ricky Davis Jr. And what's really at its heart is a super practical 20-step framework. So this isn't about vague advice, It's a concrete step-by-step process that's designed to help you understand your own mind and start to regain that emotional control.
Now, this is really important to point out. This guide is not a substitute for clinical treatment. Think of it more like a tool for self-empowerment. It's a resource that's all about increasing mental health awareness and giving you practical techniques that you can actually use in your day-to-day life.
So, how do we get started? Well, to unlock a door, first you have to understand the lock, right? It's the same idea here. To break free from worry, we need to understand how it works, and it's not random. It actually operates in a pretty predictable cycle.
And here's what that cycle looks like. It usually kicks off with some kind of repetitive thought, which then starts to feed our fear of what might happen. You add a little unresolved stress into that mix, and the whole loop just reinforces itself, getting stronger and stronger each time. It's like a self-perpetuating worry machine.
But here's the really good news. Once you see the cycle, you can learn how to break it. This guide is all about offering the tools to do exactly that, to build a new mindset and finally learn how to turn that key. So the whole approach is built on these 4 big ideas or pillars. First up is awareness of your anxiety signals. This is all about becoming a detective of your own feelings so you can catch worry before it spirals out of control. Second is mindfulness and focusing on the present moment, which is really just about pulling your attention away from that imaginary future and back to what's happening right now. Third, self-compassion and acceptance, basically learning to treat yourself like a good friend, especially when you're struggling. And finally, reframing negative thoughts. This is where you become the editor of your own story, actively challenging those old narratives that hold you back.
This slide really gets to the heart of the whole shift. It's all about moving from that automatic, fear-based reaction to a thoughtful, present-moment action. So instead of letting old fears call the shots, you learn to respond with intention. And that is the secret to breaking the anxiety cycle and building real resilience.
So what does life actually look like on the other side? What happens when you consistently practice these techniques and really step through that doorway?
Well, the benefits are huge, and they're deeply personal. You'll find you can regulate your emotions better, you'll see a big reduction in stress, and you'll have a much greater sense of self-awareness. And crucially, you start to develop healthier, more effective ways to respond to all the uncertainty that life throws at you.
And this is just so important to remember. Serenity isn't some destination you arrive at. It's not a one-time fix. It's a practice. It's something you cultivate, day in and day out, through conscious effort and a real commitment to your own well-being.
And this, right here, illustrates the ultimate goal. It's all about shifting from reacting on impulse to responding with intention. This shift doesn't just benefit you either. It builds an emotional resilience that radiates outward, and that leads to healthier, more stable relationships with everyone around you.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. By understanding how worry works and learning the tools to manage it, you are essentially being handed a key. The only question left is, what door could you unlock?